did not have a father, she was raised by her mother alone. All they had was a small one-room Khrushchev apartment. There was old wallpaper on the walls, curtains on the windows, which were bought by her grandmother. The girl's clothes were sewn by her mother's hands. The girl attended classes to play the flute. Luda attended a regular school in a remote part of town. The school was attended by children from different social strata. The girl's clothes were different from what the children wore, so the children were always making fun of her. They needed a victim, and the children chose Luda for that role. The whole class laughed at her, no one was friends with her, everyone called her names. They didn't take her on hikes and excursions. She was not invited to birthdays. They laughed at her for no reason at all. Every time Luda went to the blackboard she was accompanied by laughter and snide whispers. Papers with insulting words were stuck on her back. Trash was put in her briefcase. When at class festivals Slavka sang falsely, he was clapped and shouted bravo. When once Luda dared to play the flute, and played it very well because she had been preparing for a long time, she was ridiculed. No one thought of the excellent students in the 7th grade. Her mother bought Lyuda a jacket for 40 rubles. It was a nice jacket, made in Japan. I don't know how mom managed to do it, and it wasn't just the money. In the early 80s the jacket had to be gotten. Luda was afraid to leave the expensive thing in the school locker room, so she carried it with her. During gym class the jacket was left in the girls' locker room. And there also stayed the girls' 3 odlichniцы, leaders. They stayed there on purpose, lying to the teacher about their sick bellies. The excellent students took Luda's jacket and hung it up in the girls' bathroom on the 2nd floor. Luda, having found out that it was missing, silently cried. The class teacher announced a search. Of course, no one thought of the excellent girls. Those who were aware of the operation were silent like fish. The jacket was gone for good. The next day Luda came back to school in a coat with the sleeves tied. And, as always, she did not go to the movies with the class. But the class went to the movies, led by the excellent students. That day the class saw The Scarecrow. That same night the parents of the honors students came to Lyuda's house. They brought Lyuda a new jacket. The blue one was different from the one that had gone missing, but this one was red, with cuffs and collar made of beautiful white fur. The mother of one of her own daughter's honors students got it through a bribe. Luda refused to take the jacket and said she would never wear it, let alone wear it to school. Then one of the honors students came into the apartment, the same one whom her mother gave the red jacket to, and asked Luda for forgiveness, and promised that no one would ever hurt her again, and said that tomorrow she would pick her up and they would go to school together. No one caught the little schoolgirl in the theft of the jacket. I mean, they did. Director Roland Bykov. That day the class watched Scarecrow at the theater. After the movie almost all 7th graders cried, even some of the boys. They didn't leave for a long time and talked about how it was all about them. And then they came home and told their parents about the jacket in the bathroom. What do our kids watch? Those kids in the early 80s were lucky. They had Roland Bykov and Kristina Orbakade as Lena Beselsieva. And then there was Elena Tsiplikova in School Waltz, the young Karatyun in Raffle, the heroes of Dinara Asanova's films. And before, when these kids were younger, they had Buratino and Leonid Nechev's Little Red Riding Hood. They had electronic. They had children's cinema. Our own, native, understandable. A magic world which was trusted and loved. That gave them the miracle of crimson sails, the romance of Captain Grant, the heroism of young anti-fascists. In this world, children solved the mystery of the Iron Door, flew into space, fought pirates, fell in love, traveled. This world taught them to love the good and the truth, to distinguish the bad from the good, to understand people, to admit their mistakes, to help the weak. This world gave them heroes, real ones, the ones they wanted to be like. To become part of this world, they had to take 10 kopecks from their mother and go to the movie theater. Open a list of movie theaters in any city in Russia for the next weekend. Try to find at least one full-length feature film for children made in Russia. Maybe the latest is Ghost, and that's it. If you find one, please write me. Why? On what grounds is children's cinema destroyed in this country? Destroyed outright, as a phenomenon. Even that miserable minority, which is being shot by unbelievable efforts of enthusiasts, does not make it to the box office. Don't talk to me about money. I will not believe that there is no money for children's films. There is money for the senseless and merciless new use. For deputies' salaries, yes. For noisy mass festivities on city day, yes. No money for movies. Not even for one movie a year. Well, then we are worthless as a state. Decent people don't skimp on children.